What's up? How you doing? Here we are today, Saturday. Nice day today, beautiful. Nice little breeze going by. Gonna make some coffee. Just bought this. Bulletproof, the Mentalist. That's what it's called. And rich and nutty, it says. So we have our coffee maker. We have a little bit of fire here, fuel, a grinder, and we're gonna open this up. Love the smell of fresh coffee. I could smell it right through the bag. Like that. Delicious. Very good. So, gonna put it into the manual grinder here. I mean, I have a spoon, but we estimate. But very rich aroma. Great smelling coffee. A little bit extra. I have a spoon, but I don't know, I put a little bit extra. Round and round she goes. Mama's boy. That smells good. So, you put the coffee in here, and I have freshly squeezed water. All right, put that in here. Then you take the coffee, that's enough of that. So, close it up. your hands. That's what happens. You get frostbite in a cold environment, your hands go numb, and then you find fire, and you put your hands on top, not feeling the pain of the flame, and you end up burning your hands. So, looking forward to this. I think that's an airplane. Good time to have coffee. You're hiking somewhere, winter time or fall time, early in the morning. See birds going by, they're like swallows. But yeah, nice crisp atmosphere. Get your nice coffee going. Every time I have coffee, I think of the Waltons. Every time somebody would drop by, the sheriff would be looking for, I don't know, maybe somebody was late coming home, and Olivia, well, they couldn't even call him. They had to go down to Godsee's, Ike Godsee's general store, and tell him to call. But anyway, they always had a big thing of coffee going, big pot of coffee. Any time of day you would go, they always say, I just made some fresh coffee. You want some coffee, Sheriff? So, love that show, love the Waltons. A simpler time. You feel that nice heat. Comes with a double insulated cup with a protective Silicon Valley, a silicone exterior so you don't burn your hands, but it is double walled. I should go now and get cream and sugar, but I'll wait until this is done. So the pressure builds up in here, pushes the water up through the coffee, and then the coffee itself ends up in here. And then once it's done, that there's a little opening on the side there. It releases the pressure, so you know. Look at that. Wow, that smells great. Cool tune. The guy that wrote that theme for the Waltons, same guy that wrote the theme for First Blood. That's why they have a similar sound. Oh man, I wish I was out in the forest or deep in the desert having some fresh coffee. Very nice. Today feels very nice. Feels like 1974. And right now it smells like I'm in a coffee house. You know, when you go into those, before Starbucks became popular, there was a lot of coffee houses around, Mama Papa style. And you would go in there and grab some tea or coffee. But now, with Starbucks being, you know, every couple of miles, these things have vanished. You don't see any coffee houses anymore. In the old days, everybody had like Folgers or Maxwell House or Sanka. I've bought Maxwell House, not bad. It's not bad. Folgers, not bad. But I like to grind it up myself. Makes me feel like it's fresher. Put it in here and just bam. should have had these out so it doesn't melt them. Should be out, so it'll melt them. Yeah, you know who else had coffee? Where you know, not where, but McGarrett, he had coffee. If he had to do a late night thing where, you know, for me, he never went home. Because if he was on a case, he would be there all night. And he would say, Shirley, make me a big pot of coffee or whatever. I smell the nuttiness now that they say on this rich and nutty. You can really smell it now. All right. So I'm gonna go inside and get some milk and sugar. All right, I'm back. So we got our cup here. About 1 teaspoon of sugar. All right. Very good, very good, and nutty, because it says so here, rich and nutty. Wow, that's good. Not your typical tasting coffee. It doesn't taste like Folgers or Maxwell House, but it is good. Not but, it's good. Rich. Short for Richard. Wow. Yeah, you want to have coffee deep in the forest, late fall, early winter. You know, maybe you're walking, you're a little bit tired, you want to take a break, pull out the coffee. Could be any brand. this just happens to be the one I'm using today, which I highly recommend. Yeah. And then after you drink your coffee, put some heat back in your body, and then continue on. You'd be surprised how much of a difference it makes in the cold when you have a nice hot beverage. I remember when I was in the 5th grade, I made a couple of good friends. We had similar interests, and we were free, as they say, as a bird. So back then, we would meet up with each other, and I think we overdid it back then for a while, but 5th graders, we'd meet after school. Instead of doing the homework, we'd meet up with our bikes, and we'd end up way on the other side of town, probably 3 miles away by the railroad tracks, and then we would end up at a field where they were redoing it at the time. They were I won't say refurbishing or remodeling, but they were refurbishing the field, and they had a dirt mound, and we would spend a couple of hours after school at this location doing jumps on the dirt mound. So we'd pick up speed way up on the hill, come down, hit the dirt mound, and jump over it. And back then I had an Apollo Ross 5-speed. It was like a chopper, and my friend had a 10-speed because that's what he had, and my other friend, he had a BMX, which is the kind of bike you're supposed to have when you make jumps. But my bike was awesome. My bike was like a glove to me. It fit perfectly. I used to do crazy jumps with that bike, even though it was not a jumping bike, but I made it into one. I would jump off of stairs, off of the side of sidewalks, homemade ramps, milk cartons, you name it. Then there was a street near my house that I would spend a lot of time. There was this rock. It was a bumpy street, private way, so nobody came through there, and it was all potholes. So we found a rock that stuck out of the ground in the shape of a ramp. It was like, on the front, it was an angle where you could hit it with your bike and you could get some altitude. Not high, but you'd probably get off the ground a couple of feet. So we would spend all day jumping, and the neighbors didn't mind. Nobody kicked us out of there. So we'd go back 150 feet, pick up speed, and then at the right moment hit that little rock about that wide, and stuck out of the ground. It was like somebody put it there for us, and I would hit it and bunny hop it at the same time, and then we'd measure. But in the 5th grade, we would go to a field, with swings and things like that. But on the side, there was a trail, and they had a dirt mound there, and we would pick up speed and jump over that. And that one was really high. That one was a good 5 or 6 feet in height. So we were way up in the air, and of course, the landing would mess up my spokes. And my father, I'd say, I need to get my bike repaired. And he'd say, again, didn't we just have it down there? So I'd go down there, and the guy would be, you can't jump with this bike. He goes, they're not designed for jumping. You ruin your spokes. And of course, my father would not be near me because he was on the other side. I would be like, yeah, I know. So they'd fix it, they'd tighten them up, and I'd watch them tighten them up. They had a little, like a little wrench for spokes. They would tighten them up. But you had to do it just right, because if you over tighten any one of them, the tire, the wheel would wobble, it would warp. So I'd go down there, they'd fix it for me, and then I'd go back to jumping. Loved jumping. And then one time I was down there, they had to do adjustments on my gears, had a 5-speed, had to fix the cable, and I was looking at their display, and they had a shifter, looked like a car shifter, you know, gearbox. And I said, how much is that? And he told me the price. I looked over at my father. I said, can I get that? And I thought 99% he was going to say no. What do you need that for? I said, can I get that? And he said yes. So the guy put it on there. It took him like, I don't know, 3 minutes. Bam, bam. And then I rode the bike home. I told my father, you drive. I'm going the back roads here. And I was shifting, and I felt, I treated that bike like it was a vehicle, a motor car. And I miss it. I miss that bike. I wish I kept it. But I didn't. I made a Frankenstein bike out of it after I ended up getting, well, they were doing advertisements in those days, 15 speed. And I had a friend who had a decent 10 speed, and he was like blown away, you know, if we would race, he would go right by me like I was standing still. And I said, I got to get another bike. I got to get one with speed. So I was watching these commercials, Huffy, 15 speed. And I'm like, that's what I'm going to get. That's going to be a fast bike. So I ended up getting it. It was cheap too. It was like $120 or something. It was cheap. So I ended up getting that. And then I got sick and tired of leaning over. I was used to my chopper bike back here. So I took all the stuff I liked from my chopper bike, my Apollo 5 Speed, Ross, and I transferred it onto the 15 speed, almost at 10. And I made it into this ridiculous looking, you know, 15 speed bike with a banana seat and chopper handlebars. And I rode that around for about a month, and then I got sick and tired of it, and it just didn't feel right. And then I got rid of it. But I wish I still had my Apollo Ross 5 Speed. That was a good bike. I used to do the 180s. You pick up speed and you find like a dirt road or something, or even concrete, and you slam on the brakes, and then you twist your body so the bike does a 180. Bunny hops, jumping over, you know, whatever you would find. Fun times. Kids don't know those things these days. They don't even ride bikes anymore. They treat bikes today like we used to treat unicycles back then. But anyway, I had these friends in the 5th grade, and we would go all over the place after school. Even in the wintertime. I remember one time after school we met up and we walked and walked and walked, and it was freezing out. It was like in the 20s. And we were walking and talking, and we kept doing loops around these blocks, you know, in the neighborhood, but not near my house. We were like a couple of miles away. And our clothes felt like, you know, they were frozen on us. And then we did that stupid thing, like, what's that movie there, Christmas Story, where they take the tongue out and the pole is frozen, and the kid in front of the school sticks his tongue out and it gets stuck on the pole. So we're like thinking, is that true? So my friend Mike, he decided he was going to try it. So he put his tongue and he got stuck. So I mean, we were little kids back then, but, you know, instead of doing it the right way, maybe getting warm water or whatever, I just pushed him off the pole, and you could see the front of his tongue, the skin came off, and it remained on the pole. You could even see little dots for his taste buds. Anyway, ridiculous, but I did that to him. But he healed even better than before. So, but we had a lot of fun, and then I guess, you know, the homework was being neglected. It was suffering. So one of the teachers called up my friend's grandmother, because his parents divorced, and his mother sent him to his grandmother when he was little to you know, look after him. I guess she was working and couldn't find anybody to look after him. Anyway, so she was very friendly, nice lady and all. She liked me, and, you know, I would visit a lot over their house. So one day my friend called me in the evening, and I happened to be down in the basement. My father had a phone in the basement. And my mother called downstairs. She's like, pick up the phone, it's for you. So I picked up, it was my friend Mike. And he's like, hey, how you doing? I go, good. He's like, my grandmother wants to talk to the both of us. I go, okay. That's never good news, the way he said it. So she gets on and she's like, I know you guys are good friends. I know you like playing together. I know you like riding your bikes and all that. But she goes, I just got a call from one of the teachers there. I know exactly who the teacher was. Anyway, and he was telling us that, you know, the homework is suffering. So she goes, you guys can play all you want on the weekends, but on school nights you have to stay home and do your homework. So we agreed, and that was, for a while, the end of going places after school, which we should have known that. But, yeah, and I don't know whatever happened to him. I saw him one more time after that, about like 12 years later. I saw him, I talked to him for a little bit, and that was the last time, and that was a long time ago. That was probably like 30 years ago. But yeah, a lot of people you hang around with when you're a kid, you think you'll be seeing them for the rest of your life, but something happens and they go their separate ways, you go your separate way, and you never bump into each other. And then it could be like 30, 40 years later, and finally you may see them. You know, and sometimes, you know, you restart the friendship, and other times it's just like a high and a bye. I had a friend, a really good friend, first, second, and third grade. We were inseparable. I used to hang around with him and another kid at the railroad tracks every day after school. Our school was like, I don't know, quarter mile from the railroad tracks. So on the way home, we would make a pit stop at the railroad tracks and hang around there for, you know, an hour, and then we'd go home. Nobody would say, how come you're late? Nobody cared, because they didn't know what time we got off anyway. So we would go to the railroad tracks and play there for a while, and me and this kid were really good friends. But then I ended up going to a different school, and even though he lived, I don't know, 4 or 5 blocks from me, we just stopped hanging around. Made new friends, and you know, that was the end of that. But from first to third grade, we were together all the time, riding bikes, hanging around at the auto parts store. It was called United Auto Parts, and we used to go in there all the time. That was one of our pit stops. And then his parents worked, so his house was always empty. Once in a while, we'd make a pit stop at his house. He was the baby in the family. His siblings were all grown up, and they were, I don't know, 15 years older than him at least, minimum. And so we'd go over there, the house was empty, we'd get like a beverage, and then we'd leave again. And we were like first graders. Then second graders, same thing. He ended up going to Hawaii for that summer. Came back, knew how to do the Hawaiian dance thing. Got up in the class there and showed us all how to do it. And then third grade, another fun year. And then I went to another school, and it's almost like he vanished. Out of sight, out of mind. You know, I mean, I should have just kept hanging around with him, but you know what happens is you meet new kids, and then they want to do things, and you know, and so because of that, we never hung around again. A couple of times I saw him. You know, one time I was at an arcade, he was in there. One time I was at a mall waiting for a bus, he was there. That's 2. And then I saw him one time at a Home Depot. And that was it. So, but yeah, we were simpatico. Anyway, this is delicious coffee. I highly recommend it. Bulletproof, The Mentalist. So if you see this, pick it up. Delicious. So I'm going in. We're having early dinner. As you can see, it's still daylight out, but we're gonna have some nice food right now. So that's it. That's the end of the video. I may make another one. Who knows today? All right.